Welcome, gentlemen, to today's topic where we are going to talk about why dating is really just like marketing and sales. We've had a lot of guys come through lately, and we talk about a lot of more of these advanced dating topics, pickup type topics, just building attraction, or just relationships and general topics. But I figured we'll try a new approach today, and then we'll start speaking more in a language that you can relate to. This idea spurred earlier. I'm a corporate consultant by trade. And I was looking at some workflows, a very, very comprehensive workflow at the entire departmental level for a major global company. And I realized, oh, okay, this is likely what people are looking at day in and day out. So maybe we'll try breaking it down in terms that you might be able to translate from your professional life. So I'm here with my good friend, esteemed co-host, and I was going to say friend again, but partner in crime here for anything dating, online dating, day game, any of that type of stuff. So, Joel, welcome to the stream, and thanks for joining.
Thank you, sure. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I'm excited to get into this one. I think, as I was like reflecting on what we're going to talk about tonight, I got my start in sales right when I started dating. And I think there's a big correlation with the two. I actually started practicing my cold approach when I was doing shoe sales. So I would sell shoes to a pretty girl and then try to get her number. So eventually my boss said, you can't do that. But it really taught me like the power of, uh, of the correlation between the two. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, dude, like these are like the exact same things. And so we've been talking a lot behind the scenes. And I think tonight we're going to just dive right into it. We're going to start off with online dating, and then we're going to go into more day game and cold approach. So, Jaron, online game is your expertise. So, how have you built like a funnel, a marketing funnel? Like, break it down for us. Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I am a digital marketer by trade. Started my career kind of more scrappy in the weeds, actually doing stuff. I've been at more of the corporate consulting level for a while now. So more of a higher level view into it. So I'll keep it at a higher level view for now. So online marketing, it's really just like creating an inbound digital sales and marketing funnel. So anytime you do anything, even if you meet a girl in real life at a social event, night game, whatever, at some point it will go online. Now, where I start in the online marketing is top of the funnel activity, which is your dating apps, your big three, your Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. For guys of you that might be into like the sugar type game, that's more advanced type stuff if you want to do that without having to pay. So drop me a line if you have any questions about that type of stuff, if you're already at that point in your game progression. But we'll focus on the main ones, the free ones. They do have premium type features, which I would definitely recommend you take advantage of once you dial in which app or apps work best for you in your local dating market. So you'll notice I use terms like dating market. So you guys are probably aware of the term like SMV. I'll call it DMV, which is dating market value. And in this sense, you want to know, okay, how are you perceived in your local dating market? If you look around and there's a bunch of good looking, rich, handsome, high status guys everywhere, then realize, okay, you might have stiffer competition. Or if you go to a market, I have a buddy who's in Central America right now, and he's dropping pics in the group. He's like, whoa, people here are not attractive. So he is a hot commodity there. So keep that in mind. If you're in a big city like in LA, Miami, New York, there might be stiffer competition. But what I help guys really do is build an online brand. However, your marketing channels start at the top of the funnel with usually your big three dating apps, your Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. So what I do at this point is profile optimization. So you want to have good looking photos. That is really the first impression that she's going to get of you as how you set up your profile. So I take a unique approach. I have really good looking photos. They've been tested by the market. There's ways you can do that. Again, hit me up for more information. I'll just keep it high level for now. And then you find your best photos that perform best in terms of swipes, or where you get the girl actually in the stack. The stack refers to, let's say we're using Tinder, the lineup of people that are shown to her that she could potentially swipe right on. So you want to stand out from the competition here. Take good, high quality photos. I usually advocate having a call to action in the visible profile preview or description. Again, she's going through your stack. You want her to take a pause on you. I actually sat next to a girl once on an airplane and watched her Bumble for half the flight. And she swiped left on most guys, probably every 20 guys she'd swipe right on one. Now the ones she did swipe right on were either immediate swipes, or she would click to the profile and go through and go up and down, back and forth, and actually take time to dissect the profile. So the way I have mine set up to stand out, again, on your big three is I take more of a kind of pretty boy approach. So I've done fitness modeling in the past, have candid shirt off photos, good angles, good view, natural expressions. And I actually intentionally put some not so good photos in there because girls thought my profile was fake, although a lot of them were verified. So that's more top of the funnel. My call to action, it varies based on what I'm doing. When I lived in San Diego once for a heat wave, I had something like, what is it? Fun fit or no, something like fun fit guy seeking for cool girl for AC adventures or something like that. Cause I had air conditioning at my place. And yeah, my place was right, like literally right behind there on the beach. So a lot of the places didn't have AC, but I had a little portable AC unit. And that actually got girls over because I think of it in terms of she's shopping for an experience. So yeah, you can match her, you can open her, you can do the banter back and forth, but I treat these things very efficiently. Again, like I do at my corporate level, well, I want to remove as many steps as possible from the process. So I have my Tinder, Bumble, Hinge optimized to where I get a lot of right swipes. I do a lot of volume. Now, volume allows you to filter out these girls. A lot of you guys might be newer to this and you're thinking, well, maybe I get no matches or one or two matches a day, or once in a blue moon I get a match. Well, I can help you optimize that to where you're increasing your match ratio exponentially. And there's ways to do that. I've A/B tested a lot of these factors, so I've done that with my own, and I usually get 20 to 30, or usually 20 to 40 new matches a day. I don't open them all. I'll let them batch up. If they open me, great. Sometimes girls will reply to my call to action. I'm in Mexico City, so they'll say hello, which is like, I'm down, I'm in, I'm game. And then I just have to drop my digits. She texts me, and then we make things happen pretty quickly. So when you run from a volume model, this is why I really leaned into online, aside from it being part of what I do for a living professionally, is that you can run a lot of volume. So you can set these filters in once you start getting lead flow volume, and then really only pick the girls that you're into. Obviously, you're not going to swipe on her otherwise. And this is the big one, that are into you. So top of the funnel starts with the big three dating apps. Then I have my standard openers. Again, it's just like if you're building a logic tree for like a basic sales script. Let's say you have to
Quick
change
question,
some
Jaron.
lead.
I'm gonna
Yes,
I'm gonna pause you there.
do
So
it. Yeah, I'm going.
there might be some guys that are like, well, Jaron, like, I don't have the six pack like you. I'm not jacked like you, right? So I invite you to share like your conversion rate from actual girls that you meet on the dating apps to dating, because this actually helped me a lot when I met you, because I was like, well, shoot, like, I mean, I don't look like Jaron, so there's no way I'm going to get the success rate. But tell us your actual like percentage that actually come through to be
Mhm.
the final sale, technically.
Yeah, so I know when it comes to especially like cold approach type topics, guys, so usually the average of the benchmark you want to aim for is 1 to 10. So if you open 10 girls, you'll get one on a date, or close the date. These are terms that come more from like the pickup type communities. But for me, in terms of closing the date, so getting them on the date is not the hard part. And well, it actually is the hard part. But once she's on the date, then I think in terms of conversion of like it actually leading to physical intimacy. So in those terms, usually if I open a batch of 20, I know that I can get one that same day, and a lot of times within the same hour. The worst I've ever done is 1 to 40. The best I've ever done is usually 1 to 10. And then there's things that, again, you really need to figure out your market. So things like if it's Friday night at between 8 and 10 p.m. and all of a sudden starts raining, guess what? Where I live, this is Mexico City behind me, people don't go out when it rains. It's just not that fun. There's a lot of open air rooftop type bars. Things get really wet. They get really cold really quickly. And it's just not uncomfortable. It's just not comfortable. So if it's Friday night between 8 and 10 p.m. and all of a sudden starts raining really, really hard and the temperature is low, then usually it's more of a 1 to 10, or oftentimes I have multiple leads there. So it really depends on your market, how you present yourself. The first part of your question in terms of, okay, maybe you don't have a six pack like me. Maybe you don't look like me. Maybe you don't have the same style or fashion or hobbies or interests as me. That's fine. What we teach you to do is accentuate your strong points and really put that out there. So I have a coaching client now that I'm working with. We literally did this last week. We built out his initial dating profiles, and he's on a fitness journey. He's lost a bunch of weight. He's looking really good, but still has to put the lean muscle on, and that's going to be some time. But he lives a really cool lifestyle. He's really classy. He's really educated. He's witty. He's smart. Most of my clients turn into my friends. So Joel and I actually hang out with him quite a bit. And then I tell him, I was like, well, dude, as a guy, I like you. I like being around you. I like your energy. I like what you represent. I like your values. Like, you are a person that I personally like. Now, how do you translate that to the dating market. So we
Yes.
went through and
I, I
showcased more
I
of
really
his
like that.
lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Quick pause there, Jen. Yeah, I really like that. And I think that's really good for a lot of guys to hear that, you don't have to be a super Chad to have success with
Mm-mm.
dating. Like, just like in sales, right? You don't have to be Elon Musk to make money. Our product is not a Tesla, but it is attractive to people more than what a Tesla would be. And therefore, they come to us for that service. And so, really kind of looking at it from that sales and marketing perspective, that like you don't have to be the sexiest guy out there, but as long as you present the best product you can and really know what your value is, and that's what Jaron and I help you guys learn, is to figure that out for yourself. And obviously, it's an inner journey as well. So that's a whole nother topic, though. But once you identify for yourself for who you are and what you bring to the market, you're going to find that all that other stuff really doesn't matter. You don't really need to compare yourself to other guys anymore. So I really appreciate, Jaron, you sharing that. You sometimes you do hit a 1 in 20, which is a 5%. Like, I think that can be really motivating for a lot of guys that think, oh, I should be getting 50%, or maybe they get, yeah, like you said, 1 in 20. Like, that's okay. That's a good conversion rate.
Yeah, and I'll give you some more breakdowns. So my standard opener, I go very direct. Again, when you're working lead volume, you can be direct. So let's say I open 20, I give them all my standard opener. Usually that gets a good response rate. Now, if it is kind of abrasive, and it has slightly sexual undertones, but so that usually gets me at least a 50% response rate. So a lot of times, like, girls will never respond like, "Oh, I can't believe you said that." They just won't respond to you, which is fine because I'm trying to filter. So let's say I open 20. 10% respond to my opener. Usually of that, 50% of that number, so now we're down to 5, I will actually get off the app. Again, roughly half of that, so 2 or 3, you'll set for a date. There are things like rescheduling or things coming up. Sometimes, I'll be honest, there is ghosting that happens. I live in a culture that's very impunctual. So of a batch of 20, you can usually schedule 2 or 3. Sometimes they all want to show up. Sometimes usually one at least shows up. It's very rare, like all 3 of them, have to reschedule or new plans come up. And then that's why I say, so typically if I open a batch of 20, that's my benchmark. I open a batch of 20, one of them I will end up converting. And again, in my openers and in the call to action on my profile, it kind of sets the tone for what my experience is. It implies straight to the house. It implies we'll be cooking together. It implies intimacy. And again, I'll help you come up with your own standard line. So my coaching client the other day, he wanted something. He's not comfortable doing quite straight to the house yet, and he needs the practice on actually running a date where you go out in public. So we put together the blueprints, came up with the logistics in terms of, okay, how this should be ran from a cadence or systems or sequencing standpoint. And then now he's actually getting girls on the date. So on this week's call, we'll talk about actually running the date to, again, you're always setting the stage for the next level. So I think in terms of 0 to 10, I want to take you from 0 to 1, and then 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3. And there will be bottlenecks across these points. So top of the funnel, profile optimization, get the matches, get them open, get them off the app as fast as possible. I send them 2 routes. Either they go to my Instagram, which Joel showed earlier. That's usually for lead nurture if she's not quite ready to meet up yet. Or if it's just a girl, hey, I don't live in Mexico City, I'm out of town, I don't know when I'll be back. That's like, great, follow me on Instagram. That's lead nurture. Because what happens is when you build a queue of these enough of these girls, and you're doing fun stuff and you're tagging locations, I have this happen very frequently to where girls like, oh my God, I'm in the neighborhood, or, oh, hey, I was just there. Hey, are you in town? Oh yeah, I am. Hey, how long are you in town for? 3 more days. Hey, let's meet up. So Instagram only is lead nurture. If she gives me WhatsApp, or usually I drop her my info. Again, I'm trying to filter out the girls and only work with the ones that are highest interest. So if you're newer and you don't have the lead volume, I'd say, give her your info, say, hey, drop me a line. Let's do it. Whatever. Instagram, WhatsApp, Instagram lead nurture. WhatsApp is directly to set logistics. However, a lot of times she'll still creep on your Instagram. So I always give both, because she wants to make sure you are who you say you are. I'm verified. I post frequent stories. I do music. I have the same view in most of my videos here, and they can recognize Mexico City's right behind me. I am a real guy. If there's any hangups, then I do a quick FaceTime call. Good angle. Hey, it's me. Yep. Nope. Yeah, I'm real. And then that assuages any types of concerns, though. So from a basic high level, that is what the funnel looks like. There's multiple steps. It's profile create. Well, it's really just setting your image, your analog image. Then you convert that to digital. You open your dating accounts. The openers and getting them off the app is the next step, and then Instagram lead nurture and or WhatsApp for actually setting the logistics is the last step there. Then after that, there's a whole new series of sequences. Setting the date, getting her to meet up, how to deal with flakes, how to deal with rescheduling, how to fit her into your calendar. So I cover all this stuff, but as it pertains to online, really from a high level view, it is just an online marketing funnel.
Oh, great analysis, Jaron. And it's just hearing you speak about it has, just even in this moment has helped me kind of see dating a little bit different, right? I'm always learning too. You're always learning, and that's the beauty of dating is you're always becoming a better person. So, yeah, I really agree with that. It's really putting that offer together. It's really showing that your product is good and it has testimonials, right? Like you want, I think a lot of businesses and startups that we see from friends and and ourselves as well really start to gain traction once they get those testimonials. So seeing like for Jaron, for example, like he has the pictures of him with women in his profile. So
I
that
need some new
is,
guitar videos. I'm a
here we
lot better at
go. There's one.
wearing
There's one of him
sweatpants and
actually in
those.
person. So that really shows that he's not just kind of faking it or talking
And
the talk. He's actually
and I'm
walking the
in the
walk.
location where the market is. And you'll also notice, Joel, if you go to the top, if you go to the very top, like my profile description. So, guys, anytime you're doing like a sales script, you will get objections. So I try to say the most with the least amount of words. This goes for your texting scripts. This goes for any of your logistics. When you're in real life, I do tell long, drawn out stories, but I pack a lot of information into them so you can make those inferences. But on my profile here, living and loving life, that sets the tone. It matches what I have on the major dating apps. The pin location of Ciudad de Mexico or Ciudad Mex, that is because I'm actually here. And then I get this a lot too. Yeah, I'll literally be talking to a girl in real life and she'll ask me, "Do you speak Spanish?" And I'm like, "We've been talking in Spanish for the last 20 minutes." Like, what? I was like, "Oh my God." So I put hablo español, entre paréntesis, sin traductor, because they always ask, "Oh, are you using a translator?" So the big objections I get, and again, this is based on my local market of being obviously a foreigner in Mexico City, is do you live here? Do you speak Spanish? Are you using a translator? So that covers all of those right there. She can go down and see that I get invited to cool events here. I hang out with cool people. I have an interesting lifestyle, and then just a little glimpse of various facets of me. There's the music side, there's the fitness side, there's the fun side, there's the hanging with the guys side, and then I think I even have some of like my nieces and nephews in there. So really, Instagram again, it's like your digital calling card on the dating market. But if you do have a well built out Instagram, that really, really supplements your online activity well. You can also see, yeah, mine is verified. I have enough followers to where like, okay, maybe a micro influencer. Years ago when I learned the Instagram game and I started learning it, a buddy of mine told me that once you break 2K followers, that usually shows that like, okay, this guy has some social proof. Because really think
Mm.
about it. For 2,000, go outside and start talking, or go outside and start holding up random pictures of yourself. How long will it take you to have 2,000 people say, "I want to know every time you do this"? So use that analogy, take it back to the analog world. 2000 is a lot of people that are interested enough to know, I want to know what this guy's up to. So once you get over that 2000 threshold, that builds a lot more social proof. 5K builds more, and then over 10K with the verified builds a lot more as well.
Definitely, man. 100%. Yeah, you got a good profile. I enjoy being a part of
I,
it. If you see those two
I need to
sexy
spruce
guys
it up.
right
Yeah.
there, who's
I've
that?
got so
Right
many
as I say it's
professional
sexy,
photos
you're,
I haven't
you're like,
posted. Like, yeah, I need to get
you're
Joel
like,
off
oh,
there.
screw.
Cramping my
Yeah,
style.
yeah, I'm holding back his channel, guys.
Yeah.
Like this is a good one here too. Like I think you want to have a mix of
Here it's actually not
you
showing. Let me
alone,
put it on the screen.
you alone, and then it's not showing.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we got it
So I
now.
think you want a mix of you with friends and a mix of you alone because you want to show that you're not just like a loner and like a loser. So this is a really good one, right? We're in a upscale place. We're all looking fit. We're all looking healthy. We're all looking happy, and that one's going to say a lot in just the photo right there. Shout out to I believe his name's Charlie. We
Yeah.
haven't heard from him in a minute, but so a lot of guys, and now this is different from online dating and when you create your profile. So, Jaron, this is a question from you. What I heard
Mhm.
is that you don't want to have pictures of you with friends on your actual dating profile. You want to have it be mostly just you. What are your
Um,
thoughts on that?
Yeah, on mine, it's always just me. I think there are some people that advocate do it for the social proof thing, but what she'll do, because I do this with the girls too, is she'll compare you against her friends. So if I see a girl, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, she looks cute enough, and then I see a picture, I'm like, oh, she's the ugliest of the friend group. Then that could potentially send her the other way. Or what you want to, what you really want to avoid doing, it's the same thing in sales. Like once you have the sale, once you've piqued the interest, once you've made the offer and they've accepted, shut up. Like you don't need to sell anymore.
Mm,
So it's kind of the same thing on the dating app. It's really just like it's the highlight reels. Like you're watching a movie trailer. It's how often have you done this? You see it for they haven't made good comedies in a while, but you see a trailer for a comedy. And you're like, oh, ha, 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 laugh out loud. I have to see this movie. And then you go to the comedy and you're like, wait, all the good parts from the trailer. There are no other
right.
funny parts. So for the
Totally.
dating profile, I kind of take that same approach to where really just showcase the best part of you. And then Joel, if you want to give me a second here, I think I can probably actually track down my actual dating profile, or we
Oh,
can
sure.
say that for another time. I'll say
Sweet.
I normally show it, but I'm using my phone as my webcam right now, so I'm like, I
Right.
can't. Yeah, but I know
Gotcha.
I've sent screenshots or posted them in private communities and whatnot before.
Okay. That's a really good point too, because I don't use dating apps anymore. But when I did, I would see like a girl come up when I was swiping, and she's with like, it's like three, like two hot girls and one girl. It's like, you're like, and it's like always the one that's like, yeah. I'm just like, damn
Yeah.
it. So that's a really good point.
Now on your Instagram, definitely because I do have clients that have dedicated Instagrams for dating, which is not a bad idea at all. Because you
Mm,
can really have some continuity in that conversion funnel. Mine tries to, but honestly, it probably tries to do too much. I showcase the music and then I tie it to this channel and dating apps. I'll go to here too. But I'm also again, I want to filter out as many girls as possible. So if a girl sees me do dating content and then she thinks, oh well, I don't want to see that guy anymore, okay, well, I don't really want to see you anyway because I don't want to hold that part of myself back. I definitely advocate authenticity in
mhm.
relationships, no matter what stage you are in the relationship, and she will find out sooner or later. And then you shouldn't have anything to hide, especially if you're secure with yourself. So I put this all out there again. A myriad of interests shows different facets of my personality. I think I do need to go through and archive a lot of the older stuff and then start adding new stuff because I do have a backlog of like professional photos and higher quality production stuff that I've done. Even with the music reels, I have higher production quality. So at some point, I'll put that on my mini list of dues to like start progressively updating my Instagram. But this should give you a good idea. It's gotten me quite a few followers. To be honest, most of those they come from dating apps. They come from YouTube appearances, and then I actually sing in Spanish at least once a month on Thursday with the Mexican pop star. So that's where a lot of my followers come from. Yeah.
Nice.
Little, yeah,
Yeah,
pro hack.
I'm the pro hack right there. I think something you said, Jaren, that really resonated was that um, I forgot it. So you know what? We're gonna transition.
Yeah,
I'm gonna show my profile too because I'm newer to Instagram. I was
yeah.
pretty like anti-Instagram, like, oh, it's social media, it's addicting, all that stuff. Because I have a recovery background. But once I started putting together my Instagram, I had a much better dating life, like almost instantly. Because this is really when I started. If you guys can see, like, I would occasionally do a post once in a while when I was living back in Wisconsin. And then here's where I moved to Poland. Right here. This is the first post I did on the first day I get into Poland. I was on like minus 24 hours of sleep. And I really started to kind of believe, okay, if I'm going to create a dating life, I need to have a cool profile. So I started putting pictures together. And just like Jaren said, like I'm showing some masculinity traits. I have a gun here. I have friends, like you can see, like we're doing cool stuff. Like this one, like I really kind of like the nature shots. So if you see like most of my
Mhm.
photos, there's some sort of nature in the background or something like that. And really, it's just kind of showing my love and my style because like, for me, like dates, I like to go on walks and stuff. So really, the key here, guys, is to find what makes you happy. And like Jaren said earlier, just put that out there and show them that, like, okay, just by looking at this, okay, this guy must like nature, right? Because he's kind of always outside doing stuff, right? He obviously likes to gym. He's not a weirdo and just like sits alone at home all day. Like he has acquaintances, right? He has a good taste. And something else that we can help you guys too on is that, like, really creating, like, once you get your photo, whether you do it professionally, which we do recommend, or if you want to do it at home, because all of these photos, except for I think maybe this one and this one, uh, I did myself. So I took on my iPhone and then I just put it into Lightroom, which is an Adobe product, and it's free on my iPhone. And then you can just up the clarity, up the sharpening a bit. And so, yeah, none of these are professional. They're just literally, I did them probably in the
I
bed
use the
right
native
here.
Instagram features, and there's plenty of third-party apps too, to where you can touch it up, add filters. You want to be real subtle with it, so it's not obvious that your image has potentially been doctored. But there's definitely ways to do that. Again, drop us a line if you have any of those questions. We definitely help guys out with that entire process.
Oh, definitely. And I remember my point, Jaron, about what you said is like, don't be showing your work or your dating unless it's like, pretty PC. So like if you see I posted our stream, like I copied it from our Mexpat dating and put it over. But I hid it from about 8 girls I'm talking to because I don't want
Yeah.
them to see that I do dating coaching, right? Like that's not what I want to see. And especially like I got a couple dates I'm setting up. So, the biggest thing you can do is accidentally turn them on. So that was a big mistake I made when I started my Instagram. I would also link it to my YouTube. And so I had my YouTube link down here and I would talk about recovery and sobriety stuff. And finally, a buddy was like, dude, like that's like killing your potential leads because they just see you're like an ex addict. Like that's not attractive. So as
Mhm.
soon as I cut that off, I started to get a lot more conversion on Instagram. So that was pretty wild.
Yeah, and there's even little things you can do. Like there's things you've already done. So you got that. I think I got that pic of you at a restaurant during a sunset. The lighting was real good. And like uphold that. So that's that profile pic, that sideways pose. That'll stand
Yes.
out. So when you're showing up in her stories, I always have my guys put a little colorful ring around it too. So when
Okay.
she's looking through her stories, you'll stand out. The ring around it's kind of based on Instagram's native kind of UI UX, which is user interface, user experience design,
Mm,
to where if it's an unread story or if it's something featured or verified or whatever, there's like a thicker blue ring around it. There's a thicker colored ring. So I just did a
mm,
gradient ring in the Instagram native app colors and put that around my photo. It looks like with yours, you did it more so with the yellow in the background there. But when she's actually scrolling through stories or like looking through messages, it's the little details that count. There's not one magic pill that'll just instantly exponentially blow up your dating life. It's a lot of little teeny tiny things that when compounded makes this, again, I'm talking in terms of a lead flow system, they just come through a lot more smoothly with a lot less friction. So what I mentioned like about the colorful ring, I actually have a template for that. If you guys want it, just hit me up on Instagram and I'll share that with you. It's a free Canva template. Just drop your picture in there and then you export it. It's already set to Instagram's dimensions and then you upload it and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Or Joel, if you want to go back to my profile real quick, they can see.
I do got to touch on that. That's hilarious because I didn't know why. I just copied you, like what you
Uh-huh.
did. So now, thank you
Figured
for
that I
telling
did
me
the
why.
research at
That's
some
important.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just do that. And by the way, guys, I've had this like, so I only say like one little line, right? Say more
Mhm.
with less, right? A big thing we teach guys is to start having mystery in your life. My big mistake with dating was when I started was I would just spill the beans, like all about me, everything. Like on the first date, they just knew who I was. And what I've really had to work on is being a little more mysterious, right? Not blowing my load too quickly. And that's really helped. So here, like, I don't talk about my job. I don't talk about where I'm from. Literally just like, I'm here. I'm living a good life. And I actually I spelled it wrong. So I'm gonna
Oh
go
yeah.
in and
Yeah,
edit
get rid of
that.
that
So
apostrophe there.
dude, it took me like 3 years to get into like
And
I don't know,
usually what I'd
advanced
recommend there
classes.
too, I think that is really good. I'd normally recommend a call to action. So this comes
Okay.
from my early days in my marketing career. I remember I'd send out an email or something, and then whoever I directly reported to would say something like, "Okay, good email, but like, why'd you do the email?" I was like, "Oh, well, da 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 da." And then this is a very rookie mistake. I haven't made this mistake in a long time. Like, what was the call to action? What was the purpose of the email? Like, and sometimes maybe you just want to send an educational email. You're just offering goodwill. Like, hey, there's a coupon code. There's a discount. Hey, we're running a flash promo. But there's usually a call to action. Like, there's a purpose for
Okay.
the email. So I treat dating the same way. On my Tinder profile, there's a call to action. I have a finger literally pointing to my Instagram. So logically, she'll go to the Instagram. If her attraction towards you, just based on how you set up your dating profile, she goes right to your Instagram. Okay, well, now you're moving her further down the funnel, and you just set up systems to where like you don't even like you haven't even opened the girl yet. She goes to your
Mm,
Instagram, kind of like, oh, okay, Jared, like, like, oh, living and loving life. Oh, he lives in Ciudad de Mexico. Like, oh, he speaks Spanish without a translator. Oh, that's pretty funny. I do have my link tree because I have, you know, this channel, and then I have multiple other things I do in my life. But I'm leaving breadcrumbs for her to discover more about me. So I still do the mystery approach, like you mentioned, Joel, but I leave more breadcrumbs so I can lead her to logical conclusions she can make based on my profile, if that makes sense.
Cool. It really does. So, guys, I guess we'll do a live one here. Hit me up for intense cardio. How's that?
There you go.
Awesome. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. But
And then
yeah.
usually I recommend emoticons too. If you look kind of how I did them on my profile, I ran a client through that activity last week, so we'll see how his conversion's going. But see how it's very punchy, it's very readable to the eye. Top line is all caps with the two little minimal emoticons there. Second line is lowercase, American flag, Mexican flag, and again, that just looks better on a device. And then the link tree there. And actually, I didn't take my own advice. I don't have a call to action there, but usually if I drive people to my Instagram, there is a call to action. It's like, hit me up for what the offer is on my dating app, and then I just point to Instagram.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, very cool, man. I think we definitely covered a lot on the online space, and we don't want to
Yep, there's that
overwhelm you guys.
circle.
And there's a circle. I tried to
Got yeah
copy
got
yours, but I couldn't figure
Yeah,
it out.
a couple more quick tips too. So like I actually like I have a unique name. Last name is very common, first name not so common. The combination not as common. So I got my real name, verified the account. Do a name that's memorable and easy. It doesn't have to be your real name, but like a bunch of special characters or periods or underscores or dashes or any of that stuff. It's like anything in marketing. You want to be punchy and memorable. So like we changed this to Mexpat Dating. Like I think it's a
Yeah,
pretty good name. So
pretty
I
solid.
own my name. Joel, you have your actual name there, so they can actually
Hmm.
find you rather than being Joel.L -Henry.14972
Right.
with a special character. I see guys drop me
Totally.
DMs all the time and like, oh, I need to get my Instagram better at dating. I'm like, all right, let's start with the basics here. And then again, just look at mine just from a basic quick glance. It's all neat, it's organized, and there's certain little things it hits, even little details like my featured stories there. Featured stories, or when you do stories, you can actually archive them and then showcase them. So I have a template in Canva that I use for that. I might actually change the design on that, but template in Canva I use for that. It's all consistent styling. So again, just
Okay.
doesn't make a world of difference, but it does make a difference. When she comes across like, oh, he has a decent amount of followers and he knows basic Instagram strategy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's a great tip, Jaron. And yeah, definitely you want to have some highlights. It just shows a bit of your life and your history and kind of what you're about. Again, you can show your hobbies too, and they can get a little glimpse into what you do. Obviously, like I like golf,
Mhm.
I like music, house music, so they can see that. There's Jaron and us eating pizza, so
Yeah.
like we like to have fun and um, again, just showing a cool thing. So I that was hilarious. I agree. Like you don't want to have like weird Jolie Henry 725 because then you look like a bot, and there's like
Yeah.
they might not see you as an actual person. So I guess quick coaching like on the spot here, Jaron. What would you consider adding to my little profile here? Because it just is that basic, living life to its fullest.
I think for now that's a good start. Off the top of my head, living life to the fullest. So I'd cut. Um,
Or would it be living life to the fullest? What's
you can say the
I'm,
fullest. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm terrible at
Yeah, the
grammar, dude.
yeah the possessive or the or the specific article is fine.
Okay.
So under that, I think I'd probably think of some sort of call to action.
Okay.
And
Um,
then for you, since you are in Mexico City, maybe put something in Spanish. So
okay.
mándame de M or send me a DM.
Un, un poco español, mucho traductor. No, I'm just kidding. Not gonna put that.
Yeah,
That for anyone that doesn't know,
mucha
that's I speak a
traducción.
little
Yeah.
Spanish, so we will only talk in Google Translate. Okay, I'll
Uh-huh.
give it some thought. Yeah, and we can do some,
Yeah, give it some thought. Yeah.
maybe an update. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So
because usually
cool. Yeah.
before this, there's activities before it. So like, like before we even touch the online stuff, when I'm like doing coaching clients or running them through like a course type format, is typically there's activities prior to that to where like, okay, who are you? Who do you want to
Mm,
attract? So we're doing these guys, if you've ever like started a business from scratch, like what are we even doing this for? What's the value proposition? What are our core values? Just basic stuff. What's the objective of this? What's the goal of this? Do we want to have an exit at some point? Do we want to go public? So equivalent to these types of things that you probably are familiar with in the business world, I start my guys with similar activities in terms of you are a product and you are selling yourself online. So who are you? What's your unique value proposition? What marketing methodologies or channels do you want to use? What are some basic guidelines or rules? What is your schedule permit? What do your logistics look like? So we set all that up, and then we build the offer and then actually put it out in front of the market and then help you streamline that lead
Yes.
flow through that system.
Absolutely. Well said, my friend. So,
Mhm.
uh, very good. So I think, we'll move on here for the second half of the show. We're going to talk about in person. So more of
Mhm.
the cold approach side of things. So again, we don't want to overwhelm you guys with information. And that's why we really, we want to keep it basic. So hopefully you guys can take away some of the stuff that we talked about here and what Jaron really dove into and start to apply it right away to your profile, right? We're not looking about, what you're going to do when you're dating a girl for 5 months. We're just starting about like, how can you get a little bit better today? And, start getting dates as fast as possible.
And really, before we transition, you'll see that there are some parallels between in person, which I consider analog, and digital, which is entirely digitally mediated or online. So, and then again, at some point, and Joel, you know this, when you meet a girl in real life, you will be texting her at some point. She will go online at
Mhm.
some point. So it is important to understand both of these facets of the dating game, which is why we structure it in this way. Whereas I'm lean more the online side, Joel more the
Yeah.
analog side, but there are some similarities in the sense that it really comes down to you got to put yourself out there. So what I'm wearing right
100%.
now, like it might actually be a good photo from the profile view. And guys, you'll figure this out for Instagram too. You have different angles that are much better. Like face on, I have a long face, not a good one. More kind of from this, a little better. So you'll learn all this stuff on the online side. But regardless, like if I were to walk out right now wearing this and looking the way I do, okay, it's not digitally mediated anymore, but I still have to put myself out there. I'm still presenting
Mhm.
myself. A lot of times I don't use the same lines as I do online because online is kind of implied that she's on a dating app. She's open to the idea of potentially dating. Whereas cold approach, you don't have any idea who she is. You don't know if her husband or brother or cousin or whatever is around. You don't know what she's doing when you intersect with her in real life. But regardless, you still have to have a good sense of who you are, what your goals are, who you're looking to attract, putting yourself out there, showcasing that. It's actually, I think it's more difficult in real life because you have to be on, you have to showcase and illustrate your personality and build attraction and look for indicators of interest and know where she's at on the escalation scale in real time, move things forward, build the attraction, set the date, and then get her on the date. Or Joel, you can comment on this. I'll kick it over to you. Insta dates too. So I want to draw those
Yeah.
parallels between online, which is more my side, and then kick it over to Joel for your in-person synopsis.
Hell yeah, brother. And
Yeah.
absolutely, guys, like there are similarities that I'm going to make sure we can touch on and you guys can see the parallels because had I not learned from Jaron on how to run online game, I wouldn't have been able to convert the dates I meet in person to an actual date. So because I would say like, "Hey, how are you?" right? Like really basic like boring text. So our secret opener and we're going to have a challenge coming up soon guys where you can get my opening and cold approach text strip well, I'd say not text strip, but what you say on a date, and then basically we're gonna have a 30-day challenge where you guys can. We're gonna have a WhatsApp group, and you're gonna report in every day. We're gonna ask you to do 1 to 3 approaches, and then report on those using kind of the script that I'll share with you guys, and then you can get live feedback from other guys in the group. You can get live feedback from us, and it's just gonna be a really cool way to start making little baby steps right away because maybe you aren't ready to do the full consulting with us, but this is I think is a good place to start. So we'll have more information about that in the coming weeks. But for now, yeah, like you said, man, it's cold approach is definitely it's a different game. I wanted initially to do online, but it just didn't work for me, especially where I was from. I'm from a very liberal college town, and I didn't have the best photos either. Like I wasn't super fit at the time either, so I was a lot skinnier, and it just didn't work for me. So I by default had to go to the streets. And now looking back, I'm very grateful because we're here where we are today, and I think there are some good pros that I've experienced from cold approach that we'll share with you guys today.
Mhm.
So how does it pertain to marketing and sales though? Well, just like when you meet someone for in person for like a client call, right? Like Jaron said, you have to be on your game. You have to be presented well. You have to be dressed well. You can't be having bad breath or stuff like that. So it kind of teaches you that wherever you are, like in your day, like look the best you can, right? We say there's a video we've made, looks, money, status isn't everything, but if you're disgusting, like it ain't gonna work, bro.
You're not doing yourself any favors.
No, sir.
Don't give
So
her reasons to disqualify you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, I'm always wearing cologne when I go out. I make sure my hair is combed, little things like that. Make sure I don't have nasty breath. I'm wearing good fitting clothes. Like we talk about that a lot. Like you want to have clothes that fit. I personally like baggy clothes the best, like when I'm just by myself, but that's not going to look good. And I'm going to look even skinnier than kind of I already am. So I like clothes that fit me well and I can show my frame.
I've gotten very comfortable wearing short shorts. I used to not be that guy.
Yeah, you
I've
got to
got
be
the
careful
meaty
there, guys.
quads. Well,
Pro
but
tip there.
and then you'll learn too, again, online or in person, that you'll want to dress to accentuate your features. Like I have nice broad shoulders, so like I don't need shoulder pads. That looks really goofy on me. Some guys might, but I'm about as wide as I am tall, so I can't wear horizontal stripes. That just makes me
No,
look like a pumpkin. So you'll learn these things again, especially if you start working with us or as you go on your own journey. It's all these little details as an aggregate that really gets you those next level results.
absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, I always had good style. Like once I got in high school, I learned how to dress well and stuff. So that was never an issue. Um, I think for me, what my biggest struggle with day game was and cold approach was being flirtatious. So, like in sales, like you don't want to be boring. Like, yeah, here's my product. It took us 4 years to make. Here's what it can do for you. Like they'd be like, all right, bro. I guess I'm gonna go
Yeah.
talk to another person. You want to be alive. You want to be eccentric. You want to show emotion through your eyes, right? If you guys have closed in person, like the connection you make with the client, or if you're the client and you've been closed, like a big part of it is how the salesperson treats you, and vice versa, how you treat the client, right? Again, if you're boring and like rude or something like that, like they're probably not going to want to buy from you. They might if they have to, but again, this is dating and girls don't have to date you. So what I've really learned and what has really helped me is to be in a strong frame, right? You've heard that word before, frame. Make sure that I'm smiling to the best I can. Make sure I got my eyes open, right? Because I can get kind of the resting tired bitch face where I'm just kind of like this, and like that isn't attractive. So I've lost, cold approach opportunities because I wasn't happy in that moment. Like I just genuinely wasn't happy, and they would just be like, oh, okay, like why is this guy
Yeah.
fucking talking to me? So the more animated and alive and the smiles and like doing the little side smirk, like sometimes I can smile too much. I can get
I've
kind of grinny. Yeah.
I've got one. Yeah, on this side. Yeah, I got a little
Yeah.
smirk I
You
do
want
with
to,
girls, a little wink. Yeah.
dude, it's perfect, right?
And
But if you're
you'll
like,
learn all
hey,
this stuff when you get practice flirting. It feels weird doing it to a camera, but when I'm with a girl, it's just natural. Like
yeah,
I know like my good little smirks, like this little face, this little shitty and grin I got on right now. Like, oh yeah, yeah, okay,
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely. And girls
uh,
like that too.
yeah.
And they'll give that
Yeah,
back
you
to
learn
you.
all that stuff.
Yep. Now, another thing that I think is really important. So, anyway, to finish up that point here, like, what can you guys do right now to get better at that? Right? Go up to somebody that you are not particularly attracted to. Right? It's a lot easier to flirt with people that you're not like interested in sexually at the beginning. Anyway, I found that for me, like, I could flirt with the overweight cashier that I worked with at Whole Foods all day long. When it came to like the smoking 10, I was just like, fuck, like what do I do? So practice just flirting with, maybe just like even like a family member, like, give, I think a really good way to flirt is to treat them. And Jaron, you taught me this, to treat them like they're a little kid, right? So you give them shit, right? You tease them, you make fun of them, you disqualify them. What does disqualify mean? It means if they say something really serious about themselves, like, oh, like, yeah, like, what do you do? Like, or you're a student, right? Like, just as an example, you go up to a girl, you're like, oh, you're a student, right? She's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, what do you study? And she's like, oh, I'm studying like engineering, right? And you can tell she's really proud from it. You're like, oh, okay, so you're like a super nerd, right? And then you do like your little smile, and she's gonna be like, because most guys are like, oh, that's really cool. Like, what do you like about engineering? Like,
I
and instead you're like,
I
I don't
use
think that's
little
very
kid
cool.
names. I call them like dork and nerd and
Dork.
weirdo and stuff like that. Never use any like really offensive ones. You know you'll hear them in other like dating channels. I don't refer to women in those terms because I don't see them that way. For me, they're like oh they're just like they're just girls. Like they're just like little kids. Like you're teasing the girl you have a crush on the playground. Or I got this advice actually from like playing with my little niece, like just chasing her
Mhm.
around and tee hee, and then she plays a little joke on me and I pull a little prank on her. I'm like, not the same little mini games, but it's the same energy. Like it's just fun, it's
Mhm.
playful. Learn how to do that, especially because cold approach a lot of times. I know when I do it, I'm bigger than most people here, and I have quite a bit of muscle mass to me relative to the local population. So I intimidate
Yeah.
a lot of girls. Even if I catch them looking at me, staring me down, I'm like, all right, this is in the bag. Like this girl's into me. When I'm up in their face, like, I don't get like up in their face, but when I'm within their physical presence, they're just like, oh no, like, oh, this guy caught me. Now he's talking to me like, oh, what's
Mhm.
going on? So you have to disarm them a bit, especially if like you're a
Yeah.
bigger guy, you have a big physical presence. You have to bring the energy down a little bit and just be a little more playful and fun rather than like, yeah, what's going on? What do you got? And you can do that. Like if you're maybe somewhere like an industrial city where, or like country girls like that type of stuff. What I'm getting at is it's all market dependent. And again, by getting out there and getting the
Mhm.
practice, you'll learn these things about yourself because the market will respond to you in real time. When I come
Yes.
in too hot and the girl's like, "Whoa," I'm just like, I'm like, "Oh, whoa!" It's like I'm pretty high energy today, having a good day. Like, didn't mean to startle you. Like, hey, I'm Jaron. You know what do you got going on? And then whatever, run the script from there. Verse, you can usually like to be honest, when you get new to it, you might not be able to tell, but now that I'm experienced, like I can tell immediately if the girl's not feeling me. And what a rule that I come up with too, and I think you employ this as well, Joel, is always be the one to end the interaction. So it doesn't
Absolutely.
necessarily mean you have to put in artificial time constraints. But if I feel a girl's not into me or I know it's not going anywhere, I was like, well, I have to get on with my day. It was a pleasure bumping into you. Maybe I'll see you around. I won't even ask for the number if I know she's not into me. So you'll learn to gauge these things very quickly and be more efficient.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jaron. And like we say that as well, like to end on a high note. So a lot of guys, you'll be vibing with the girl, and I've fallen for this too. And you're just like, finally, like I'm having a connection with the girl, and you'll just keep going and going and going, and eventually she's like, all right, bro, like we just like you're talking to me too much. So really, when you can end on a high note and you can tell she's really happy, that's when you say, hey, look, I got to get out of here. I think you're really cute though, and I'd like to take you out sometime. Right. So she's going to remember the emotions. So women are emotional. So she'll remember that last feeling she felt with you. Not so much about what you're saying, but she'll be like, oh, I remember Joel or I remember Jaron. And when he said he had to go, I was really happy. Interesting. They won't be able to maybe like logically put it together,
Mhm,
but you'll just kind of, when they think of you, they'll remember that emotion. So that's a really good
mhm,
tip, guys, is to end on a high note and then get her number and stuff. And I think you'll have a lot better conversion rates because if you end on a boring
mhm,
note, she's going to remember you by the last time she saw you, which is boring. So same with sales, like when you're ending a call, right? You kind of want to be the one to say, all right, like, hey, let's move on here to the next part. So you want to be leading the interaction, just like
yep,
with dating, just like with sales. You want to be the one kind of in control of the situation to a degree. Obviously, you can't control what the other person thinks, says, or does, but you can
mhm,
control the pace and tone. And it's like, okay, now we got to
yep.
start wrapping it up, right? We've been
the,
talking for
the,
too long.
there's a cadence with
Yeah.
online. I know my scripts are very succinct. Any
Hmm.
remote, even the slightest fluke deviation from my script, it falls into
Hmm.
broader categories, and I bring it right back to that center conversational topic, which is reinforcing my offer and then getting her off the app into logistics. So
Hmm.
in person, I noticed I do the same thing. We went out last Tuesday and I think I got like 12, 13 numbers or something, probably talked to like 20 different chicks. Couple I wasn't into at all. Two were like really attractive, but they gave me I got the bad attitude from 'em, like, yeah, have a good night. I'm not going to
Yeah.
deal with you. Like they're probably the best looking girl that I talked to all night, but just real kind of crap attitude. I'm like, yeah, now get out of here. I went like this, I'm like, bye, like good night. I'm not talking to you. And then of course other girls see that because in the Latin cultures, especially, they use the word circulate in Spanish, or circular. So you go into a room and you work the room. You introduce yourself to everyone, girl and guy. You open the major groups, so that way, again, you're putting yourself out there. As the night goes on, people like to drink here. I'm not a big drinker, but I'll have a couple if I go out. And as the night goes on, and you're going to the bathroom, the place gets crowded. You bump into people that you've already ran into, like, oh, you, and then. That this is more kind of like a night game type thing. But Joel, you mentioned like you create those like conversational threads, those little inside jokes. When I go out in public, I was out actually with one of my coaching clients the other day and another buddy, and the waitress came up, and I could tell she was really into me. So I was kind of teasing her, playing with her or whatever. Made it real quick. So like, if the manager saw, it was the same length as a normal interaction of her coming and checking on the table. But as she kept coming back and find reasons to come back. And then it's like eventually she'd get closer to me, and I was like whispering little things in her ear. I was like, I'm gonna put you on a secret mission, okay? But no one can know about this. I know you could get in trouble. I know you're not supposed to do this, but here's what we're doing. Every time she gave back, I gave her bits of more information. Now I need you to do this for me. And then at the end of the night, obviously I prompted her to it, and I seated the first date. On the back of the receipt, she wrote me like a little note with a smiley face, a little heart over the I and her name, and then like her phone number. So, but this was it was very covert. It was like just you and I, like, this is our little world amongst the bigger world of all the things going on. You're running tables and you're seating people, and maybe someone missed their shift. So you have two sections now, like 3 people asked for an account. Someone dropped an order coming out, so you got to go put it back in and get it put up in private. All these things going on, but these little snippets in time, you have this little connection with me, like this underlying conversational thread, and that goes back into leaving on a high note, building in those emotional responses in her, and then as it pertains to sales, like, you always want to be moving things along, but you want it to seem like it's effortless and it's not forced. So you don't want to be the guy that's reading your resume off a script, or like, here's my 10 can dating questions. However, the other night, going back to that, I noticed I just kind of let things fly now, like whatever I think, especially around girls, because again, it might be a little more advanced of a mindset for you, but eventually you get to the point like, they're just girls, they're just people, they're just women, and not all of them are going to like me. So I'm going to put my best version out there, and if she vibes it, great, and if not, great. Joel, you mentioned like the hey, you're cute, I'd like to get you more line. I do something like, so I make her kind of qualify herself even more, and I was like, I'll literally say, hey, I got to circulate more. I just got here. There's a lot of cool looking people I need to meet, but you seem like a cool chick. I'm really vibing your energy. I'd be curious to see if you're always like that. And if so, I think we'd have a great time together. So,
Nice.
I never asked for the number. As I'm pulling out my phone, I already have it on WhatsApp. I already have Mexico as the country, because sometimes they'll put in, but mine defaults to the US. So like, you learn these little things, and I just hand her the phone as I'm just going through the spiel, and then she instinctively just puts in her number. A lot of times she'll hand me her phone, or I'll just call her real quick, or I'll drop her a line. I usually say like, hola sexy, or if we had something funny in the conversation, I'll drop an emoticon just so she remembers me if she's giving out multiple numbers, especially at social mixers. This is a social culture I live in that's being market aware. And again, you'll learn all of these little subtle things that really make the difference. And for me, I like to think that in her head, she's like, this guy gets it. Like, I'm into him. I like his energy. I think he's physically attractive. That's why I'm talking to him, entertaining him. But these little things that are just effortless and streamlined and smoothed out in the process, like, this guy just gets it, because then she can drop her guard and just come along for your ride, because you have that all figured out. And again, that's what we're here to help you do.
Yeah. And everyone's going to have a little bit of a different approach with this. So
yep, they're all
for
different.
me, when I am closing it, right, I always put my Instagram in her phone. So a couple of reasons I do that. And I was showing a client today, as on one of our approach sessions. So I say, yeah, I'd like to take you out sometime. I say, do you have Instagram? Right. I say, because that's why I do I don't use WhatsApp. I just strictly use Instagram. So yeah, of course. I say, okay, give me your phone. And I kind of like command her to give me your phone. So the reason I started doing that is it helped me practice being dominant, right? Because that's something I never was good at. My mom, she was pretty like kind of overbearing, and I didn't learn how to really stand up to women. So this really helped me be more commanding. So I say, give me your phone. She hands me her phone, which is kind of like, it's a good sign if she trusts you to give you your phone, because most guys in Mexico anyway will take it and run.
Phones disappear here. Yeah.
I do. So I take her phone, I put my Instagram in, and I follow myself. Right now, this does a couple things, and I really suggest you guys try this out if you're out doing a date Freudian slip, a day game session. So she follows me, and what it does is it puts her in the chase position. And although obviously you're the one asking her out, right? You're not, but it does something psychologically when she gets home and she has to wait for you to follow her back. So my next thing then is that I get her number. I say we part ways. I say it's nice to meet you, and then we dip. I wait probably at least 50 minutes to an hour to follow her back. Right? You don't want to follow her right away because it shows that, wow, like I'm thinking about you, like, oh my god, that was so amazing. I can't wait to follow you and connect with you. And although like you might be like, how does just following her right away say that? You'll start to experience that as you get out there and get your own practice, how women respond to your responses, basically. So I do that. I wait about an hour and then I follow her back. Now, a real thing that we got to work on, and this is going to take some time too, is like the timing of things. So let's say you're doing it out at night, right? Like it's like 7 p.m. when you get her number. I wait probably either until the next day, or I usually wait till the next day because you also don't want to seem like super eager. Like you were out, you got her number. She's the only girl you've ever talked to in the last like week, and you just can't wait to get home and text her, right? So this was really hard for me because I would do that. I would get her number, and in an hour I'd be texting her trying to set up a date. So I'm having to actually practice discipline and learning how to say, okay, I'm not going to text you till tomorrow. I'm not going to text you till I'm actually free, right? I used to make free time to talk to girls. And now I'm kind of more in alignment with, okay, I'm going to do it when I'm available. So that is a pro tip, and that's going to save you guys a lot of time if you can practice not texting her immediately after you get her number. Right? So you get her number, right? And then you text her the next day. And this is something we can work on maybe more on the one-on-one consulting side about what to text her, how to text her. Really, though, kind of coming back to full circle here, the point is to be the one in the qualifying position. You don't want to be the chaser, right? A lot of you guys come to us, you come to this space because you're traditional nice guys. In no way that's a judgment. I was the nicest guy you could ever meet. And girls knew it. I had a lot of girlfriends, but never lovers, never romantic interests. Even I had a girlfriend for a year and she never could be sexually into me fully because I was just too nice. So any little way that you can practice not being the nice guy is going to be really powerful. And maybe I think we'll do a video sometime on like what nice guys do, because I think you're
I
thinking
was
the
just
same
writing
thing.
that in the private chat.
Oh,
I was thinking
perfect.
video topic. There's a difference between being nice and being the nice guy. So there was a while in my game where
Yes.
I tried to be, I call it always alpha all the time, for lack of a better term, or like just
Mhm.
you'll meet these guys when you guys start going out there and like socializing and stuff. If you get into these circles, these spaces, private communities, meet other guys that are like into these topics, you'll meet the new guys to this space because they have that too cool for school attitude, which women do not like. Now it will excite them. You can get if this is what you're looking for, like quick one night stand type stuff. But maybe those, and for most of our guys, those aren't the types of women you want to go after. It
Mhm.
does work, but you won't keep her around. She'll get tired of the shtick very quick, and you'll get tired of it because you might just have a bad day, and you're like, you know what? Like, I just don't feel good today. Like come rub my hair and put some good food in my belly. Like I need nurtured, you know? So you're going to break that shtick. It's not being authentic. So a big milestone in my game, or just in my dating life in general, was to let my real personality out. And I was kind of scared at first.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm kind of a nerd. Like I was really good in academia. I'm published, and I've actually been really successful in my corporate life. That's like that's not what cool guys do. That's going to turn her off. No, no, no. That added depth to my personality. I led with the aggressive and the whatever, but learned how to step into more of the softer side of the dynamic of my personality as well. And then when
Mhm.
now I'm just me, like just whatever comes to my head, I say, and girls know that. And if they don't like it, well, that's too bad. You'll find yourself saying things girls say a lot too. We're just not compatible. We're not a good fit. I find myself saying that to girls, like, hey, we're not compatible. Like, if I have to hide who I am from you, then just there's no reason for you to be in my life. I'll let
Mm.
you go so you can go find someone better suited for you. And, I'll do the same. And, it was nice getting to know you, but that's it. We're done. So that's the distinction. Let's do a video topic on that, being nice versus being the nice guy.
Definitely. Kind versus nice, I think. Yeah, we'll save it to that video because I'm actually excited for this one too now.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, do it.
so yeah, so coming back to sales here, guys, and this point on like over texting too soon, getting her number and then hitting her up right away. Now, imagine if you're on a sales call, right? And you meet a client, maybe you even meet a client at like a business event, and you get his number, right? Like, hey, like I really like your product. This is what they'll be saying. Hey, I really like your product. Let's talk, right? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. Like, let's exchange information. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, hey, bro, it was great to meet. Like, I can't wait to work with you. You know what I mean? Like, you probably would lose the client because they're like, dude, like this guy has sales breath. So I think there it is right there. You don't want to have sales and
Mhm.
commission breath when it comes to dating. This takes time. So if you do, and sometimes I get it too, man. Like I'm not perfect at this. Like if I meet a girl that's like my 10, I'll get a little too excited. And I actually journaled about it today, how a girl I met recently, I got a bit one-itis over because we had a really good approach, but I hit her up too soon. I did exactly what I said not to do. And so that was my big lesson. I got commission breath. I wanted to take her on a date. I wanted her to become a part of my life. I wanted to, you know, experience all these things you get to experience with dating. And she kind of was like, okay, like this isn't the guy that I thought he was when he approached me very confidently, right? So you can't just have a good opener. You need to develop the skills that are going to allow you to take this long term. We haven't dove too much into long term relationships yet, but when you do have a long term relationship, one of the biggest mistakes guys make is they stop seducing her the way that they did in the beginning. They become too complacent.
Mhm.
They let their nice guy come out, who was maybe hidden in the background because Mr. Seduction was on. The girl senses that and is like, okay, like this guy who I thought was Mr. Casanova when I met him is actually just a young boy who just needs love.
Mhm.
From there, they're out of there. And I laugh because I was that guy. I had a girlfriend in the last year, and I made that mistake. It was a huge blessing in disguise because it taught me how to level. I needed to
As
level
I was
up in
telling you
that
not to
area.
make that mistake, which guys, we will help you with those blind spots too. If you're in the midst of making a mistake, we will we'll catch out for you.
You
It'll
have
still
to.
be a
Yep.
lesson learned, but it'll be a lot quicker than letting that bad decision play out.
Yes, and again, it was the best thing I think that could happen. I know,
Mhm.
Jaron, like you were correct in that situation, but had I not gone through that, I would not have learned what I needed to learn to become
Exactly.
the person I am now. So I think that's another thing too, guys, to make
Yeah,
an
the bumps
analogy
and
with
bruises.
sales is that, yeah, every you miss out on clients, you miss out on sales, you miss the close, right? And each time it stings. You're like, dude, I could have just made $10,000, fuck. But you learn from that experience, and then the next time you have a client call that has a potential $10,000 price tag on it, you're like, okay, I ain't doing what I did last time to screw that up. And so really looking at it like everything's a learning process, right? Business, dating, every bump and bruise, like Jaron just said, is gonna make you stronger and make you better equipped for the next time you have that interaction.
Yeah,
That's a big one for me.
I think that's a great point. At the end of the day, it is all a numbers game. So failure is to be expected. I use the analogy, I played baseball through college, that it is a game of failure. If you have an over a 300 lifetime batting average, you're in the Hall of Fame. So
Mm,
that's 3 out of 10 that you're converting. It's similar to sales, what depending upon whatever industry in, what your price point is, what your offer is, product market fit, all those factors. Your conversion rate may vary, but what we can definitely help you do, and again, I really break this down online because we have data, we have the metrics, is to do that conversion rate optimization for you. But it is a game of failure, and I
yeah,
think a lot of guys skirt around those topics. We've had internal discussions like, should we say that you get ghosted, that girls flake, that they'll reschedule? Should we say that sometimes approaches just don't go well? Yeah, because that is what's to be expected. So if you are failing, realize you're in good hands because there's a lesson learned in every single interaction. And the more experience you get, the less you'll fail.
yeah,
Or this happens to me because I've been at it for quite a while. When I do fail, it's usually something way out of left field, and I'm like, Joel, you won't believe what happened. You're always like, dude. I'm like, no, but realize like this is across a lot of data points. Like this is a
yes,
fluke.
yes,
This has never happened to me in my entire life and all my experience, but it's just so radical based on my aggregate of data that I'm operating my assumptions against, to where I just got to share it with you. So it'll
yeah,
always happen. Even if you could be the world's best salesman, whatever's considered a high price point for you, whatever your flagship product or whatever you're promoting, whatever ticket wise, and you're like, all right, like I am the man, you will still have those deals that fall through, and it's usually in the
yeah,
11th hour. It always seems to. So it'll still sting, but with the experience, you just learn to let it roll off your back. You're like, all right, that leaves me space to focus on the next one, and you just keep going
absolutely,
and keep chugging along. And then eventually you realize, like,
absolutely.
oh my God, I have an awesome dating life.
Yeah.
the girls that I'm seeing are like, they're girls that I really enjoy being around. They're very attractive to me. They're just cool people. They have more. You'll get to these milestones in your dating life, like, oh, if I can do that, like, I can get her, or I can do this, and it's kind of the same in the
Yeah.
business world. You're always looking for that next milestone or setting those new series of goals. So
Yes.
it is really quite fun once you start to learn how to apply these things and you have that operating framework down. And again, it draws
Yeah.
parallels back to building a business or sales funnel, marketing funnel, any of that stuff. It's going to be some trial
Yeah.
and error. You're going to be like, oh, I should have done this rather than that. You're going to A/B test. You're going to multivariate. You're going to have endless reiterations, but eventually get to the point like, all right, $1 in equals this multiplier out. How much money do I want to make? And you'll get to that in dating too. Like, how many girls do I want to date at a time? What can my schedule permit? Do I want to focus on one girl and really build a connection, or maybe have a couple girls and just kind of keep it
Mhm.
casual, fun, and
Yeah.
free? You will have control over your dating life, which is really fun once you get to that point.
Yeah. And just like, yeah, just absolutely, Jaron. And like with sales, like, right, you may, I'm sure all you guys, like you, when you had your first $500 offer, it was amazing. And then you're like, okay, I can sell 1,000, I can sell, or 500, I can sell 1,000. I can sell 1,000, I can sell 2,000. And some of you guys are selling really high in the thousands. So, just like with dating, you're like, wow, I could date a girl that looked like her. Okay, who else can I date? Okay, I can date a girl that looks like her and behaves like her. And it just kind of, it becomes, that's why they call it game, because it is a game. It's a game of life. And it's sadly a game that a lot of guys miss out on because they were taught the wrong things, or they're just, they're too focused on the either like one aspect of their overall who they are, right? Like the money, like some guys that come to us and they're like, yeah, we spent all our life chasing money and we thought it was going to get women, and it didn't. And so they have to go back and reiterate this part of themselves. Um, and I think, yeah, like as well, like Jaron said, like some of your sales aren't going to close, right? Like you're going to be on a date with a client who is about to buy from you, and then you are walking through the park and they step in dog shit, and then their new, like brand new Doc Martin shoes are just destroyed, or you take your client to a bad sushi spot and they
Yeah.
get food poisoning and they blame you for it, right? All those little weird variables will come up, but that's part of the game, right?
Yeah.
And you get to look back and have a good laugh. I've done probably close to 1,300 approaches right now. I did a lot this week, so we're getting probably might be past 1,300, and I'm seeing what, like there's like 8 girls I'm possibly working around with. So that means that, let's do the math, 1,200 1,292 women have said, no, Joel, I do not want you in my life. So you will get lots and lots of failures and rejections, but
Although those are girls you're currently working with, so every relationship has a timeline too. Whether it's a one night stand, maybe you meet up a couple of times, maybe it's a weekend fling, maybe you have a short term relationship, maybe it goes on years and years, maybe it's the one and only, and you guys build a life together until death do
Mhm.
you apart. But I think Joel, just to comment in your case, you're actively working on 8, but you have other ones that come in and out. And you'll see this too. Like if we apply like a lifetime value or like an LTV type equation, that okay, maybe she'll buy once and it's a low ticket offer. So like, let's say it's like a one night stand or something. And then she hits you back up a couple weeks later. She got busy at work. She had to go out of town. There's a family emergency. And then she comes back and she's like, hey, I'm back in town. And then you guys go on a date. And then she's like, oh, she actually likes you. And start seeing her once a week, and then twice a week, then 3 times a week. Then she's your girlfriend, moves in. So these, that is like kind of the natural logical progression. If you're going from one extreme to like, I don't know you, to like, I'm going to marry you and spend the rest of my life with you, anything in there within between. And um, what a lot of guys think is like that they have to, and I'm a big advocate of this too, like in the seduction phase, like you got to pace things, you got to know a cadence, but you also have to realize that sometimes you can't force a cadence, or
Yes.
life happens, things come up. I met a really cool girl a few weeks ago, went on a few dates. Like I really vibe her. I'm like, man, like this girl and I just click. And then she told me today, she's like, hey, I got my dream job. I'm like, oh, cool. Like she's like, I got good news and bad news. Like, what's good news? I got my dream job. Like, and I was genuinely happy for her. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's so great. Like, what's the bad news? She's like, I'm moving to the Middle East and I'm not coming back to Mexico. I'm like, well, it was great getting to know you. We just crossed paths when we did, but usually my going line's like, hey, like I'm genuinely happy for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
If our paths ever cross again, I would love to continue where we left off. And then usually the girl's like, the feeling's mutual. And guess what? This type of girl, like if I'm going to Europe here in a couple months, she might we'll stay in contact, but
Yeah.
it's international. She's working for an airline, so she gets the free travel. So she can come meet me
Okay.
somewhere. And I've actually dated quite a few stewardesses or people in the airline industry. Like, hey, I noticed you're in my neck of the woods. Let's see if I can arrange my schedule, and we'll spend 3 days together. I'm like, okay, cool. So
Mm-hmm.
you realize you'll also learn not to force these things. So again, you might have a client that comes in, they want your low ticket offer. Let's say you're helping guys make their first $1 million and there's no money in the bank. Well, okay, we can get them on. You can get them on board with a lower whatever the offer or the price point is, and then start progressively moving them up that value ladder. Relationships are kind of the same way. They have different stages. They'll have different user or customer journeys. But the thing is that you want to, at the end of the day, offer just a consistently good product. In this case, a consistently good experience. I use the term. I have a dating course I did before. If you guys want access to it or have more questions, hit me up on Instagram. But I always use the term the Jaren Scott experience. That, like, when she steps into my world, she is getting an experience, and it is an experience like no other, because I am like no other, just like you are like no other. And again, what we really help you focus on is iron out the details and then figuring out the blueprint for you. So you have a base operating system, you have a framework, you have some sort of an internal infrastructure to where you just intuitively know what to do. And then again, you can
Yeah.
deviate. Sometimes I break my own rules. Usually I regret it. Joel, sounds like you mentioned that earlier.
Yes, sir.
But I'm always testing out new things, new variables. Like, oh, I noticed this. Maybe I can, and then I drum up a hypothesis based on whatever observations I'm starting to now consistently notice, and I'll run little tests and I'll run little experiences. But at the end of the day, I'm having fun with it. And I tell Joel this all the time. For me,
Yeah.
it's not even about dating anymore. I just like the process. Like, it's so enjoyable.
Yeah. No, love what you just said there, Jaron. 100%. You love the game and you love the whole experience. You try things out. You push the boundaries, and sometimes it doesn't work. One point I did want to make on what you said is like you said, like sometimes the logistics aren't correct, and that is, I mean, such a good time to sales. Like sometimes just the timing isn't there. And that's something that you'll learn on dates too. You might meet the right girl at the wrong time, right? And just like in sales, guys, you might have the client that needs your product beyond all else, just not right now. And when you have that experience, right, what do? You got to be patient. You got to be all right. Hey, I want to talk in 6 months about this. I think we'll be ready to, work with you then, right? If you were to hit them up every week and be like, "Hey, you still thinking about us?" Like they'd be like, "All right, dude, I ain't buying from this guy ever." So same with dating, right? Like you might meet a girl and you might have a really deep connection, but she's just not in a place to date you right now. So what you want to do in that situation, you want to leave her be, right? You want to give her that space. You want to let her come to you, right? Like a cat. Think of women like a cat. Us guys, we're more like Labrador retrievers. Like we want to love right now, but we got to kind of play the cat game too. And when you do that, she's going to come back in her own time, just like in sales. He's going to, whatever the client is going to reach out to you when they're ready to buy. And at the same time, you don't want to just wait on that client, right? You want to be still doing your, outreach and closing deals in other areas, right? Like if you had like one client that was like, I want to buy with you in 6 months, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to wait for you for 6 months to buy from me, and just like that'd be retarded. Right? So just like with dating, just let her go. You will forget about her as you're doing more approaches and doing more online dating, and then one day she'll just like maybe hit you up out of the blue and be like, hey, I'm available, like remember me? And you'll be like, sweet, let's do it. And you'll be
Yep.
6 months further down your journey then, so you'll be even better with your seduction and your masculinity and being able to hold frame and be more authentic with yourself. And so you'll even blow her socks even more than what you would have 6 months prior.
And
So I love that analogy.
if you're consistently loading the top of the funnel or putting new leads in the pipeline, then what you'll see, like with these types of girls, oh, hey, that sucks, you're moving to another country, congratulations, like Joel said, guess timing's just off. Hit me up if you're in the neck of the woods, if you're ever coming back, by where I'm at, whatever. And then, like Joel said, just let her be. And a lot of time, I've started doing this recently. Every month, I'll just go through and unfollow girls. Like if I'm not actively seeing you in real life or don't know you in real life, or I'm not working with you or communicate with you regularly, I don't need to see what you're up to, because I know what I'm up to and I'm focused on what I'm up to. But girls do come back, and I haven't happened very often now, but I've been in my local market for 3.5, almost 4 years. It's going on to where girls will reach out. I have one over recently to where I think I left the ball in her court a few months ago. Like, hey, let me know when you're back in town. And then she didn't text me and say, hey, I'm back in town. She said like, hey, what's up? Again, whenever a girl reaches out, I assume she's trying to make plans. So like, hey, what do you got going on? Oh, I'm in the neighborhood today. Like, is it cool if we still hang out? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'm actually free in a few hours, and I'll come on by. And it was that easy, but it was a conversation I completely forgotten about. And that happens so often because I'm consistently doing approaches. I'm consistently going to social events. I'm consistently just talking to everyone around me. I'm on the dating apps. I have an Instagram where I publish and post stuff frequently. I go on, it's a Mexican singer. I go on her channel, and most of her audience is young girls in Latin America, and they see me, and I'd get new followers. So constantly you're just loading the top of that funnel. And eventually, like, you're that whale of a client's going to come through. You're like, oh my God, she's the one. And a lot of them might be like, okay, this pretty consistent revenue coming in. It's a good client to work with. Like, yeah, I could do better, but no problems. It's a good working relationship. You'll have all of this stuff. And then again, what I really advocate is you'll get to the point to where you can choose what you want that mix to look like. Just in marketing and sales, like you're doing an ad spend. Well, like, okay, what campaigns are the top performers? But are these the products we want to be selling? Do we want to allocate our ad spend somewhere else? Maybe a different platform, maybe a different channel. So you're always adjusting your marketing and sales mix. Or maybe like, I got a system down and I'm just going to keep it here, and then just keep dialing it up. But really what you get, and I think a lot of you guys, if you're successful in your professional life, you want control. You want system structures, people, processes in place that you can just depend on, but you still want to know, okay, well, where's this thing going? To have more of that kind of higher level strategic direction. And then you have, again, components or elements in place that do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So again, that's my specific area of expertise, because I do that in my professional life, and I'm translating it to the dating realm, and it's worked really well for me so far.
Yeah, right. And you're teaching me, man. You're teaching me about how to like look at
You're
this
doing a
like
good job,
sales
yeah.
and understand. Thanks, man. And understand sales too. So, guys, this has been a great stream, and kind of I think what we really want to reiterate to that, you guys that are in sales and marketing and stuff, you can absolutely do this. You can have an amazing dating life. We get it. You're probably frustrated, especially if you're watching this content. Like, dude, what ain't clicking? And we both know what it's like to just be like, I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. But just know, we can see, maybe you can't see it yet, but we can see that if you can close a client and make money, you can absolutely date a woman. It's like, it's
It's
insane.
actually
Like,
easier.
it's
Yeah.
actually easier, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so again, that's like what Jaron and I are really excited to be helping you guys with, and starting this new journey for us. Like, this is something we've both been passionate about for a long time, and to be able to get to finally do this and give you guys the relief that has absolutely changed our lives and basically saved us from probably a lot of our own demise, to be able to get to see it in you guys happen so quickly. It's just absolutely amazing. We can't wait to be working with you and really taking this to the next level, this whole channel, this whole brand. We finally figured out where we're supposed to be in this space, and we're just going to be, stepping it up right to the next level to be able to help you guys the best we can, right? Get you guys the results fast, efficiently, have you on a great dating life, have you having the relationships that you dreamed of as a kid. Man, like, I would lay in bed as a kid for years and just wish I could have a girlfriend. And it was agonizing because I knew once I got out of my fantasy, I was like, oh, I'm alone. College, I couldn't date women because I just partied too much, and I just didn't know what kind of we're teaching you guys now. So know that you are if you're watching this video and you're even resonating with this, you are so close to finding the dream dating life that you want. And we're just honored to be able to help you with that, and excited as well. So any
Yep.
thoughts on that, Jim? Yeah.
No, I think we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. So, guys, you see a bunch of IGs down there. That's Instagram. So, Mexpat Dating, that's the channel, that's the brand. That'll get you all the branded content, clips and reels, and all that good stuff. Drop us a line if you have any questions there. If you want to reach out to Joel or I directly, Joel has his down there. Joel E. Henry at Instagram. Mine is Instagram at Jaron Scott. Send us any questions, comments, things we failed to cover, video topic suggestions, any help you need at all. Again, like this, what I'm doing now is in parallels with dating. Like, I am here to be of service, and you'll get this when you get more advanced in dating. I was literally thinking this today, like, you being here with me is my gift to you. Like, like, girl, you really did a good job to be present in front of me now, because I have so many other things and passions and interests aside from dating. It's like, you got the gift of me. So guys, same as dating, I'm putting myself out there. Anything you need at all, as we're for those of you who are on my channel, slight rebrand, slight new direction. We're starting to hone things in, just based on market feedback. So you'll do the same process in dating. So anything you have at all, any questions, comments, helpful suggestions, constructive criticism, any way in which we can facilitate you getting better results and meeting your goals in dating faster, do not hesitate to reach out to us on any of these accounts. We will gladly have a conversation. We do coaching, we have courses, we have boot camps, we have all that kind of stuff. And really, there is no one size fits all solution. Each and every one of you is a unique individual. And that is the overarching methodologies that we really have to hone into that, and then scale that or translate that to the digital dating marketplace, to the in-person dating marketplace, or just the overall localized or even globalized dating marketplace. So anything at all you need, do not hesitate to reach out. We are definitely here for you, and we look forward to potentially working with you. And hey, if you're not quite ready yet, just do us a favor, like, subscribe, share, recommend any friends, get in the comments and just show us some love. These are social engagement triggers, and that can be your little favor for us for what, an hour, just shy of an hour 20 of us talking about these topics. So we definitely appreciate you being here. If you need anything at all, reach out. And till next time, should bid you all farewell.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3-second